Thank you. It is so awesome to be back on the stage. I've missed it. I'm normally a theater person. That's part of my testimony. I could probably put on any show you want. I could play any character you would want, but to be myself is probably the most challenging thing. And to take off that mask is the hardest. Psalms 23:4 says, "Even when I walk through the darkest valley, I will not be afraid, for you are close beside me." I grew up knowing the 23rd Psalms, and I always thought of that being as like the valley of death, so it didn't really affect me. I was like, oh, okay, you go through the valley of death. But what I've learned is that we're all walking through the valley right now. Our life is a valley, and the only time that we will come out of that valley is when we reach glory. And so part of my testimony is that all of our valleys look very different. There are different ways that you get into a valley. Sometimes you can be really, really far down in that valley. Sometimes you might be really high up in the valley, and you might not even realize you're there. You're so close to God, and your life is going so well. Some of these valleys can look like job loss, the death, and there's different types of deaths that you might experience. Mental health, also health issues in general. COVID, can I get an amen? That is a valley. And one of my other ones raising children in COVID times. Yes, that was a valley. So tonight, what I would really like to do is, if you can bear with me, is I'm going to take my mask off and talk to you about my valley and about the years 2016 to present and what my valley looked like and the moments that were so deep that I didn't know if I would come out of them. So in 2016, towards the end, my parents moved here from Columbus, Georgia, and they came to live with me and my husband. God bless him, I know, he agreed to it. And it was wonderful at first. My dad had some knee issues, and he went in hip. He went in right before Christmas 2016 for a hip replacement that failed. And when I mean it failed, literally his bones just disintegrated in the surgeon's hands. And so my father, who had been an amazing provider, we call him Coach because he coached for almost 40 years. All my children call him Coach, and that is who he was then wheelchair bound. We had no idea what was wrong with him. They tried to do all these scans. They said, no, it's not cancer, it's not Agent Orange, it's not any of these things. We have no idea what's wrong with him. Well, then he got really sick in around, I think it was February of 2017. He got really sick again, and they took him into the hospital, and they said, actually, it is cancer. We found the size of an orange tumor in his left lung, the size of I want to say it was a grape in his right, and it already moved down to his femur. And so they gave him 6 months to a year to live, and that was hard because he lived in our house. And so God blessed us, and we had a ramp put in. It was okay. Well, then he got even sicker, and unfortunately, he just was ready, and he said, "I'm not fighting this anymore." So on June 22nd, my father went to go be with the Lord. He was there in our house. He passed away in our house with, I'm one of 5. All 5 of my siblings, all 5 of us were there, and all 8 of the grandkids were there. It was a beautiful moment to watch him go into glory. But with that being said, I want you to realize how many people were there that day, and they stayed for the whole week. My husband's a police officer who works 3rd shift. So he would go to sleep during the day while all of us were still there. I had just opened a play with Davidson Community Players. I was playing Miss Hannigan and Annie. And I actually opened it on the 22nd when my dad passed away. So, but then we had gone through that whole week. My brother, who is a chaplain in the Army and one of the most amazing men of God, was staying with us. And helping my mom with finances and getting my dad's obituary ready. We were going to go all the way down to Columbus for his funeral. And so we were all there, and it was Saturday, July 1st. It was my mom's birthday, and I had 2 shows that day. And so I woke up, I snuggled my girls, my husband came home, he went to bed, and at about noon, one of my castmates came and picked me up to go to the shows. My brother had left with his wife, their 3 girls, and my 4 daughters to go to the park. They had a wonderful time. My girls still remember it like it was yesterday. They played in the park. They got ice cream, and Lauren's dripped it all over her face. They just laughed. They had a wonderful time. And they came back at about 12:30 that afternoon from a busy, long day. My brother was driving my car, which was not his own. He had no idea about it. His girls are older. They were not in car seats at that time. And during the hustle and bustle of everything, of getting all the girls out of the cars, one of my children and one of his jumped out of our van and shut the doors. My brother had backed my van in because my husband's a police officer and wants us to always back in. And he, at that point, saw that the doors were shut and thought everyone had gotten out. And he then proceeded to go in the house. My husband woke up from his nap that day, and he always goes and finds all 4 of our children. Always. It never fails. He will go find them immediately to kiss them good morning, well, afternoon. He went, and he could not find Lauren. And unfortunately, she had fallen asleep, and my brother didn't realize it. And so on that day, she went to go be with my dad. She was 3.5, and she was beautiful. My dad's name was Lawrence, Lawren, and we had named Lauren after him. And so her name was Lawren. And so that all happened, and it was hard. I don't know how else to say it, but God just came over me that day, and I knew, and I stated, they actually had to come get me from Davidson College and transport me in a police car to the hospital in Mooresville. And I just I asked for all my siblings to come and be in the room, and I just looked at everyone and I said, no one is at fault, and we will not blame anyone, and we will not allow what Satan tended to destroy our family and to take us down to the miry pits of hell. We will not allow that to happen. And they all looked at me and we prayed. And my mom asked if they had given me something because I was so incredibly calm. And I said, no, I just sang praises to God on the way here. I literally sang Amazing Grace and I prayed the 23rd Psalms. And that it was hard, I'm not gonna lie. People ask me all the time, like, well, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, don't say you're sorry. Like, just know that there's a purpose and a reason for every life, and it can be gone in a second. I'm always asked, how are you doing this? How are you even standing up? And I mean, not really, I'm not, I'm barely. It's all through Christ and His grace. That was probably, in my valley, I was probably halfway down my valley. I didn't think I could get any lower. I thought that was enough. Like, God taking my baby, wouldn't that be enough? Like, wouldn't that valley be low enough to help people out? Like, okay, God, thank you for the testimony that I really didn't ask for. But in the fall of 2018, my valley got even lower. We were informed, basically a year after everything, that the state was going to press charges against my brother. And I just remember asking God, well, barely, because I didn't really want to talk to him. I said, why? Why are you going to take one more precious soul? And I was strong in my faith. I thought I was. But my mom would say, pray, Della, just pray. I said, Mom, I can't pray. How can I pray to a God who's going to do that? Like, I'm trying with that mustard seed of faith. I'm trying so hard to understand why this all happened. And I hate saying that. I hate taking that mask off and being that vulnerable to say that I almost was ready to give up on him. I was almost ready to give up on life. My husband didn't understand it. I mean, I literally begged him. I said, I've got to go see a specialist. Like, I have to go do something, or else I won't be here. I won't be around. And so I did, by the grace of God, I went and I got the help that I needed. And I did find through it all, there were just several things that really helped me that I want to share with you. Because if you're ever in that valley, maybe it will help you get out of the valley and see that little light in the end. And so one thing is to find a tribe. To find that tribe, even if it's one or two people, somebody that will be there for you, someone that will pray for you when you can't pray. Because that's really what helped me the entire time. I don't think if we had the church family that we had, or we were where we were in life, I would be standing here. Because people literally prayed for me in the midst of the darkest nights. I would say to cover yourself as much as you can with the Word of God and allow others to do that as well. I would fill my environment with Christ. Literally, I didn't listen to any secular music. I only played praise and worship because I felt like if I couldn't say the words, at least someone else was saying them for me. Rescue became my song by Lauren Daigle. I mean, I literally played it over and over. I think my husband probably got really sick of it in the shower because that's all I would play and pray and pray and pray. That God would just rescue me, that He would hear my SOS, that like, would someone just come? Like, I was ready. And then give yourself grace. Just allow yourself that grace to know that it's okay to lose it sometimes. It's okay when people say, oh, are you okay? To say, actually, no, not really. I would go to church and people would ask me that, and I'd go, no, not a good day. And they'd be like, oh. And I'm like, yep, peace. Walk in this way. I mean, there were moments and times when I did things that I'm not very proud of. I definitely probably leaned a little too much on that model. It felt good. COVID was, every day I was out there with my girlfriends in the neighborhood. I was that mom with that glass of wine. But God just really took a hold of me in around September of 2020. We were talking in the green room, and I said, COVID really allowed a lot of reflection and time alone and seclusion, and it really helped me because I don't think if I had it, I would be where I am today. And so I say just the biggest thing is to cling to that mustard seed. I always think of that mustard seed of faith. I was in a Bible study one time, and she actually gave us little bottles of mustard seed, and I still have it on my windowsill so that I can see it every day and remember that it was just he says, if you just have faith, even as small as a mustard seed, you could say to this mountain or valley, move from here to there, and it would move. Nothing would be impossible. And that's Matthew 17:20. And so, my valley got really low. And it's probably going to stay low for a while. As long as, I think I'm on this earth, I'll have to still battle each day, battle the depression, battle the thoughts of not being good enough, of wondering what I did wrong, and if I wasn't a good enough daughter of the king, why I couldn't keep my daughter. But there's always light, and I keep reminding myself that the light always overcomes the darkness. And that as long as we have that faith, the light will get brighter and brighter because we're growing closer and closer to eternity. And that's what gives me such faith and hope, even in this darkness of this world, and especially in the way we are today, that we have a light at the end of the tunnel. One thing that really hit me too is to consider the lilies of the valley. Because even in the darkest of my valleys, I found lilies. The lilies of the valley, which means the hope. The flower actually means a return to happiness. And so even when I'm in that lowest of valleys, I try to find the lily. I try to think really hard of what will bring me back to happiness. And just to find those moments. I had to remind myself about this even in November. I haven't shared this with anyone, and I'll do it really fast, but my oldest daughter, who's 13, almost became a lovely COVID statistic. And not because she caught COVID. She was so depressed and so downtrodden that she actually, Jesus called a hotline. And they came and they took her, and she went and she got help. It was very hard for me. I didn't know what to do. I have been in the mental health field. I worked with foster care for over 7 years. So I knew what those hospitals were like, and I knew what we were looking at. But glory be, he saved her and he brought her out. And so my biggest thing is, if you need that help, please get it. It's the biggest thing, and to always look for those lilies, because they're there even in your darkest moments.